Hey everyone, it's Lindsey Vasquez with the Gold Arrow Real Estate team at Keller Williams Fresno. Today, JD and I are going to share with you top things that agents hate to hear. Top one in my book, cancellation. The buyers or the sellers want to cancel. Oh, those are the worst words ever. And I've actually had it happen before where the agent and the buyer on the other side jumped the gun and sent over the cancellation without even trying to negotiate first. And so I just felt like they were kind of giving up, and they were afraid to ask for a repair request and thought that the seller would reject the repair request. So instead of sending over a repair request, they sent over a cancellation. I ended up working everything out. We ended up getting the repair request from the buyer's side. We negotiated the repairs with the seller, and we ended up closing that transaction. So sometimes people can jump the gun, and sometimes cancellation is a real thing. We are dealing with that a little bit more now, so with the coronavirus. Unfortunately, people are losing jobs, having their hours cut, and just having different situations. But we're gonna get through it. It's a scary word, and one of the words that we hate hearing the most. Another thing that we don't like hearing is that we were kicked back from recording. So at the very end of the transaction, lender's funded, buyer has funded, and it's just time for the closing documents to be recorded at the county. And for whatever reason, the county rejected the documents. I've heard of things being rejected for missing addresses, a smudged notary stamp, and that's just a bummer because then it just takes a little bit longer to get the closing package resubmitted so that we can close. Another thing that agents hate hearing is that we're short on funds to close. We've been in escrow for 30, 40 days. We're ready to close escrow, and you hear that the buyer doesn't have enough cash to close. They need a last minute gift from someone, which is definitely doable. But we've had that situation before where buyers didn't get a big of a tax refund as they thought they were going to get. So they didn't have the correct funds to close. Or they were sick for a couple weeks and so their pay ended up lowering. Or they got a bonus at work and it wasn't as much as they thought it was going to be. There's a lot of different things that can happen. Buyers go out and buy appliances before close of escrow. So anything like that, we don't like hearing. We want to make sure that the buyer's being responsible throughout that transaction. So those are just some things that I hate hearing as an agent, and I hope that JD has some to share with you as well.
So some things that agents typically don't like to hear. One would be that you know that you'll be pre-approved or you'll qualify, no problem. Let's just go look at houses. So that is something we don't like to do because say we find your perfect house and you're like, yes, I want to make an offer. And maybe it's a weekend or, we can't get pre-approved that day. And in a hot market, it goes quick. So that's why you want to get pre-approved first. That's one of the reasons. There's many reasons, but that is one of them. Another reason is because let's say we find your perfect home and you're not pre-approved and, you go to get pre-approved and you actually don't. Or maybe you got pre-approved for a lower amount than you thought you were going to. Or maybe you're like, oh, I think that I want to be here, but your dream home, or we could have found you something that was a little bit higher in price point, but we didn't know that you would qualify and that the payment actually was better than you thought because maybe you get a better interest rate than you think. And it just really helps knowing your full buying power for sure. Something else would be when we're in escrow, there's an inspection period and maybe you say, oh, I'm not going to get a home inspector. I'm just going to have my dad look at the house or whatever. Well, we recommend you get a professional home inspection because they check everything, like down to the nitty-gritty, and we can use that report to ask for repairs. So it's kind of hard to have substantiated proof that something isn't functioning properly if we don't have it documented from somebody that's a professional and that provides a professional report. So when we go to ask for repairs, it's just going to be hearsay, like, oh, they don't, yeah. Another thing is repair requests. So maybe a friend tells you like, oh, you don't want to buy a house that, has all this stuff wrong with it, whatever. Well, when we look at home inspection reports, we really look at health and safety items, and we want the seller to fix those items for sure. That opportunity for asking for repairs isn't asking them to fix like the little tiny stuff that is like a $5 fix at Lowe's. That's the opportunity to have them fix anything that's electrical, anything, that could pose some kind of health or safety hazard. Maybe there's like a gas leak or whatever. Those are things that we want to get fixed.